Well, Jill, I really appreciate you joining me today for this Talent Catalyst conversation and your generosity in being willing to have this tape so that others, both coaches and players, can see how such a conversation can unfold and what the opportunities are to use it. We've gotten requests from many people about, well, what's a coaching conversation like? How does it work? And both players are kind of wondering, well, what am I getting into? And coaches are thinking, well, what do I do? So we're going to help illustrate that for them today, and I'm really grateful that you've taken the time, Jill, to do that.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
What we'll be doing is having a conversation that has essentially 10 steps to it. And what we've done is design this to be done within about an hour's time. And so the whole idea here is to give you something that will help you stimulate your thinking and your ideas. We found that it works well to go at a moderate but brisk pace. Any one of these questions we could probably spend a whole hour just talking about in themselves. But people find that different insights, different breakthroughs come for them at different stages, and that actually putting the whole conversation together is most useful for you. So that's what we'll be illustrating here.
Great.
So as we begin, I'm interested in knowing what topic you've picked. Now, sometimes people pick a topic about how to advance in their career, how to deal with a difficult work situation, how to have more work-life balance, any of a whole host of topics. But which topic area did you pick? Because we haven't rehearsed this, so this is a live.
I actually chose how to advance in my career, how to take what I'm doing and bring it to the next level.
Okay, great. So would you please take a couple moments and give me some background information about yourself that would be relevant for me to understand a little bit about your career so that I can appreciate where you are and how you look to advance?
Absolutely. So I started in federal government and I found a love for government itself, but I wanted to do something that made more of an impact, a more immediate impact. So I got into local government. I'm an executive assistant for the city manager. So I have the opportunity to see an array of different things that happen at the city. But I'm a Jill of all trades, but a master of none. So I get to see all these different projects, yet I don't manage any single one of them. I just have a little part in each and every one of them. So I guess that's my experience. That's where I'm at now. Is just I guess lower level and figuring out how I can take it to the next step.
Okay, so what I'm hearing from you is that you're interested in how you can advance in your career. You've had a lot of different experiences, and you're looking at, well, how do you put those together in a way that can help you move forward?
Exactly. How do I take the skills that I have? How are they transferable?
Okay, okay, and how can you grow them and develop them and figure a path to go forward?
Exactly.
Okay, great. So what I'm going to do is ask you the questions here along the way, and if you'd like, I'd be glad to take some notes for you. Oftentimes people find that's helpful, then you don't have to think about it or write notes for yourself, and yet you'll have a record of the conversation in summary form, if that would be useful to you.
That'd be very useful. Thank you.
Okay, all right, great. So the first step here is to connect with your hopes. So tell me something about what your hopes are about advancing in your career. What are your aspirations? What are you hoping for out of that advancement?
You know, I think that's part of the reason why I think this would be helpful is to recognize where I want to take this. I guess that's where there's a nebulous line. I don't know what is next. I don't have a plan for where I want to be next. And I think that might be part of the issue is where can I advance and where can I take my skills? How do I envision my future and what is the end goal? What is, I guess, the next step? I'm not sure.
So you're looking for some clarity about how you can move forward and where this is leading.
Sure.
Okay, so clarity is an important thing to you. Are there other key hopes that you have?
I hope to recognize my resources and find out how to use my resources to my advantage and what steps to take and what I need to do to get to an end goal.
Okay. So clarity, resources, anything else that's especially important to you as a hope?
I can't think of anything else, no.
So let me just jot those down.
Thank you.
And the reason those hopes are important to you, as I'm hearing, is that this is all part and parcel of figuring out how you can take the experiences you've had and what your skills and abilities are and move forward.
Exactly.
Okay, great. So the second step here is to consider your concerns. What do you think is standing between you and realizing these hopes of getting more clarity and figuring out how to tap your resources more effectively?
It might be, I guess, confidence in what I do. I know, like I said, a little bit about a lot of things, but maybe I just don't have the confidence in my abilities to take it to the next level. Or, if an opportunity presents itself, maybe there's a little bit of myself that holds me back from taking that next step. So probably confidence in my skills and abilities.
Okay.
Something.
So if you were able to figure out a way to get past that confidence issue, you think a lot of things could unfold for you?
I think I would recognize the opportunities more readily. I think maybe opportunities are presented to me and
you don't
probably
see them
don't see them because maybe I'm not qualified for that, or just an internal.
Okay, so confidence is one of them. Is there something else that you think is standing in your way? Is that the primary one?
That's probably the primary one. Maybe recognizing what resources I actually have, writing them down and using them to the best I could use them, and focusing on it. I guess maybe it's just paying attention and focusing on where I want to be in the future.
Okay. So finding a way to get a better handle on the resources you do have and how you could use them is another area of importance to you. So thinking about those two, a sense of confidence, a greater confidence, a sense of greater use of the resources that you have, which of those concerns seems the most pressing to you at the current time? In other words, which one do you think is standing most between you and where you want to go?
Probably the confidence.
Okay.
So I do have an array of different experiences. I guess it's just realizing that those experiences can help me, and though I might not be a master in a certain area, that I do have the ability to learn quickly and to take on new tasks. If they're thrown at me, it's a sink or swim situation. I make it happen.
Okay. All right. So the third step here is to tap your success stories. So how have you successfully dealt with these sort of circumstances in the past? Where you were confronting a variety of opportunities and you were trying to muster the self-confidence to address them. Can you describe a situation that came up for you before that where you were facing that sort of circumstance and you dealt with it?
I guess most recently I was put in a situation where one of my coworkers had left for a couple weeks overseas and I need to take on her role. So I was thrown into a sink or swim situation, and I told myself, no matter what, even though I don't know everything about this field, I'll do everything I can to make it happen. It did turn out 2 weeks went by and nothing crazy happened, though things came up that I didn't know how to handle, but I used the people around me to try to figure out how to handle them, and I learned so much in that situation because I was out of my comfort zone.
Yeah, so what were some of the things that you learned?
I learned how to handle different personnel situations. I learned how to manage new employees and the process for onboarding people. It was an HR position. So I learned, oh my goodness, how to effectively communicate with different department heads about the onboarding process and the importance of following the steps. I learned, an array of different things.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that's a situation where when you actually got thrust in the situation, you figured it out and you were successful in doing it. You tapped people as you needed to. Some of the things that you were concerned about confronting you didn't show up as big and as a scary way as you were worried, perhaps.
Yeah.
And that this all really worked out.
Yeah, I guess I just didn't have time to worry about the confidence in my skills because I just had to deal with the issue. It was my issue to deal with, and I knew I had to do what I had to do to get it done. So I didn't really have time to think about, oh, can I do this? It was, I have to do this.
Right.
Yeah.
So you've had success in dealing with the kind of circumstances that you're confronting now.
Yeah.
maybe you're waiting for somebody to toss you into a situation and for you to sink or swim, but you're trying to figure out, well, how do you find those situations that they don't drop in your lap?
Exactly.
Right?
They don't always just drop in your lap.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good. So we're going to move on now to looking at how you can expand your opportunities. And so the fourth step here is to identify opportunities to learn, grow, and develop. And you've been starting to talk about this. So how do you think you're going to need to grow, and what do you think you'll need to learn to address your concern about confidence and realize these hopes you have to advance in your career?
I think what would most help is having a little bit more experience in each department. So like I said, I have a little bit of experience, just from my desk and seeing what comes across my desk. If I went out to these departments, did a ride along with police or sat in planning or engineering, just to get a feel for what their side of it is, I would have a better understanding of their projects and what their responsibilities are as a whole, to really understand the organization as a whole. Because I get little bits and pieces, try to put them together with like a jigsaw puzzle. It's hard sometimes, and I don't understand the depth of what's there. So I feel like if I, spent a day or a week or some amount of time with another department, I'd have a whole nother perspective and understanding of what it takes to be part of that department.
So what you're looking for is some way that you can go from your limited exposure to these different departments to getting more in depth, so that you could figure out how you could be more helpful.
Exactly. And
where the opportunities might lie for you to add more value.
For sure. I would be able to recognize, an area maybe that needs improvement, and I have a different perspective on it. So working with a team of people from different departments to come together to solve a problem. I think that's...
Okay. So learning about the circumstances in more depth is one of the areas. What about the inner qualities? What inner qualities do you think you're going to need to have how you're going to need to be? You were describing sort of what you're going to need to do, but how do you feel you're going to need to be to take on the kinds of roles and responsibilities you like?
I'll have to probably be pretty persistent and push for that. And make it a point to make it happen, focus my time on it, know that that's something that has to be done for me to further my knowledge and make it happen.
You're looking to build your confidence. A couple ways that you're seeing that you're going to grow to do that is getting more knowledge and more exposure, and then to support that, figuring out how you're going to be persistent and how you're going to be focusing to help that happen.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Well, let's look at step number 5 here, is to use your resources. And you were talking about this earlier and wanting to use your resources more. So what resources do you have that you think can help realize your hopes?
I think there are plenty of books out there that would help me, maybe help me focus on my goals and stay in tune with what they are. Also mentors, people that are around me that have insight that I don't yet have early in my career. Coaches. It's probably just a matter of sticking to it and knowing the end goal and just really focusing on where I want to be, how I can get there, and who around me, whether it's coworkers, whether it's mentors, whether it's department heads, who has the knowledge that I'm looking for. And who has knowledge outside of what I'm looking for that would help me get to where I want to go.
Okay. So you have lots of different resources. So the resources are there. The issue is really how are you going to tap them?
Sure.
And so what have you found most useful to you in tapping resources like that? What works for you as a way to do that? Or what do you think might help you now to tap these resources more than you have an occasion to thus far?
It would probably be putting it onto a plan. I'm a very organized person, so if I had a plan, if I just wrote it at the top, this is my end goal, here's how I'm going to get there, it would probably help me put down a goal, meet with this person on this day, or find a book that relates to leadership or how I want to develop certain certain skills that I have.
Okay. All right. So being organized, having a plan, it makes sense to you.
Yes.
And I'm hearing that one of the things you're trying to figure out is, okay, but where's that plan going?
Exactly.
Sort of like if you knew what the end goal is, you could work the plan back, right, to figure out how to get there. So is it that you're part of what you're doing now is you're sort of exploring what those various end goals might be, and that's why you're sort of searching to see, well, what are the things that you would like, and how could you learn more about what's out there so you could decide, is this end goal one that you want, or is a different one that you want, and how do you go about that?
Yeah, I think that's the thing, is trying to figure out what that is, and then reverse engineering it and figuring out what skills do I need to get there. And though it might not be an upward direct, it can be a lateral to the side, and figure out, I really enjoy something in planning, maybe go there for a little bit, get some understanding, and it doesn't have to be directly up, because that's not always the way that the world works. Sometimes you have to take steps to the side, and then figure out where your ultimate passion lies.
Okay. So we're at step 6 here, and we're revisiting your hopes. So you've been talking about things in your initial description of your hopes really around finding ways to advance in your career, getting more clarity, those kinds of things. As you've been talking, and as you've been thinking about, what you're facing in terms of your confidence, what you're facing in terms of your resources, do you see some further evolution in your thoughts about what you're hoping for at this juncture for yourself?
I guess I just, it's clear that I need to set out a plan, that I feel like I need to put maybe down in writing, even if I don't have an end goal, knowing, maybe writing out what my resources are, and thinking about it daily on where I want to go, how I can take what I'm doing now and push it to the next level, or take on a new project, or offer a solution to a problem that nobody has offered. Kind of pushing myself outside my comfort zone, and asking for those opportunities, and volunteering to do things that other people don't volunteer for, just to take it to the next level, if that makes sense.
So this whole idea of it sounds like you're in a period of exploration.
Yeah.
And that, do you think maybe one of the things about being frustrated and not having the plan as you want and not knowing where you're ending up is that maybe, while that's ultimately what you're looking for, that perhaps at the present time it's in the realm of exploring what's of interest to you and learning some more about these other departments and finding what their needs are and that sort of thing, versus saying, oh, okay, I want to be specifically this, and here's my plan to how to get there.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Exploring. I know I love local government. I know I have a passion for what I do, and I enjoy the fact that I get to see the changes that I make daily in people's lives or in the community. I enjoy that aspect of it. It's also, I have to constantly feel like I'm learning something new. So I'm constantly wanting to evolve and develop my skills or learn new ones. So I don't know that I'll ever be 100% satisfied in a role that, doesn't change, or, say I'm in engineering and that's just what I do. I feel like, I don't know, if I got a full understanding of everything, though I might, really like one aspect of it. Ultimately, I think I'd like a role where I get to do it all. I get to see it all, kind of like what I do now, but amped up.
Sure.
To a next level where I feel like I'm more of a leader, where I have people that are working with me to solve problems, and that makes sense.
So what's of special interest to you is really finding ways that you can kind of look at the whole picture and integrate a lot of different parts together and execute on that.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of situation that you're looking for. Some opportunities, there's some meaty thing that really needs to be done. It's going to make a difference to you, make a difference to the community, make a difference to the organization. And you want to go in there, get your arms around the pieces of it, figure out how to do it, work with other people to get it done.
Exactly.
And that's what you're heading for. And,
Yeah.
And it sounds like what you're looking for is trying to find people that you can do that with. In other words, people who have those issues, challenges, or circumstances, and that will help you identify, hey, this is really what we need some help on. And so then you can say, all right, great, I'm in there, I'll go do it.
Yes.
But you kind of need those other folks to help you find the opportunities.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's where networking comes in, and
Okay.
building a base of people that are in like situations as mine. Maybe that's joining an organization where people are kind of in the same boat as me, not necessarily looking for coaching, but in the local government area of interest where that they have a passion for it too. And so when you work with people who also have a passion, and things tend to happen quicker and problems seem to get solved faster. I feel like if I built my network of people just outside of my organization, not just within what we have here, I feel like that would help with my resources.
Okay. All right, good. So we're looking at the remaining steps here that are focused on some actions that you could take, some things you could do to go forward. And it sounds like you're a very action-oriented person, so that would probably appeal to you. So the step 7 is make a healthy stretch. So do you think there's a stretch you'd like to make, something that would get you, outside of your current comfort zone, but not so far that you snap, that would give you an opportunity to experience what you're hoping for?
I think there's a lot of opportunities. It's a matter of seeing them and taking them. I feel like if I did set out to make it a point to spend a certain amount of time in each department, even, like I said, a ride along with the police, I feel like that would get me to a point that I'm looking for. I'm looking for that exploration right now, and I'm looking to see, I guess, all sides of it. So I feel like the answer to that is in what I make it. What am I going to do with my time, and how am I going to focus my time to make it happen?
Okay. And is there a way that you think you could start now? I know you've got these ideas and plans and sort of a notion of how you could go forward, but how could you get a taste of these hopes that you have for advancing your career and taking on some bigger roles? What do you see as some opportunities to get a shot of that at this juncture?
I think it's discussing with my boss the opportunities that he would have for me, discussing with the police chief the opportunities to go down to the police department for a day, really tapping into the leadership here and the support system that they are, and making a plan to do it. It's all in my head, and I just actually need to get out there and do it.
Okay, so really getting this down into a plan is something that works for you. That's been a success pattern for you in the past, is actually
So
having
far.
concrete plans and working them through.
Yeah, it for some reason never always goes according to plan, but being flexible enough to know that it might not unfold the way that I see it on paper, but to go with the flow and know that if I set my mind to it, it will happen.
Okay, all right, good. So the 8th step here is to enlist a talent fulfillment team for results. So who do you think would be ideal to have on your team to help you identify opportunities, to help you think through a plan of how you could engage and be a part of those opportunities? Who would you be targeting in your mind? You could either mention types of people or something that would get you this list of people that would help you in going forward.
It would probably be, an outside organization, or my boss. I know he has invested interest in my future, and I know he's one of my cheerleaders. So him and just coworkers, I guess,
Uh-huh.
would be pretty helpful. Supportive coworkers or friends and family, of course.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And are there any people that come to your mind that you may not even know, but you sort of say, hey, I would, if I could talk for 5 minutes with somebody, this person, it would be
Gosh.
exciting as inspiration to you or as an access to additional ideas or whatever. I mean, if you really would go to big on your dream team.
I don't know if I have a name of somebody, but
Uh-huh.
I do have role models, certain people, but they're at different levels in their career. There's,
Uh-huh.
Some people as senators or the president, or, to get a perspective of how they got where they are. What path did they take? I feel like I could get a lot of insight from a lot of different people, not just in local government, but in people who are already leaders or CEOs of companies. Just to have a full array, like how did you get where you are? How fast did you get there? Just kind of put it into perspective. I'm not trying to jump and climb the ladder faster than I need to climb the ladder. I feel like there's a lot of people that could have insight on what I need to focus on, what it takes to be a successful person, what it means to me to be successful. Might not mean what you think success is. You know what I mean? So just getting I don't know that I have a one person or
Sure.
a team of people to say, like, I want to go to them to ask them all these questions, but just kind of opening doors to an array of people.
Okay. So you've got outside organizations, your professional organizations that you're part of, your boss, your coworkers, friends and family, role models, and then people that you admire from afar,
Sure.
that you'd like to learn something from, and that you're seeking people who could help open some doors for you on these opportunity areas and sort
Yeah.
of say, hey, Jill, we need help getting something big done here. Can you step in and help us make it happen?
Yeah, and I think that's part of developing, sometimes I become the go-to person, but if I am reliable enough and people see me as the go-to person, they would come. I would hope that I could develop that and they would come to me with these problems and say, hey, can I have your help? Becoming that go-to person.
Okay. All right. Good. So we're on to step 9 here, which is to target some concrete actions. So what forward-moving actions would you enjoy taking now towards realizing your hopes?
Probably making a plan. Sitting down with you is probably the step 1 that I've taken on this journey, though I know it's probably never ending. And knowing that I'm going to constantly be evolving and constantly be learning, I guess the action would be to make a plan. And though I think my mind is set on having an end goal, I think talking to you and knowing now that maybe it's just I'm still in the exploration phase of it, being okay with exploring to figure out where I do want to go and how I can take what I have and turn it into something bigger.
Sure. Okay. Would you be interested in some additional ideas that are coming to my mind as I'm thinking about your hopes and what you're trying to accomplish? Two things come to mind that you might consider as some actions on this. One is, I don't know if you've taken the opportunity to jot down what are the characteristics of situations that you love working in.
Okay.
What kinds of problems or challenges or opportunities have you enjoyed working with, so that you can talk to other people and say, hey, these are some of the things that I've really enjoyed doing. I'm looking for more things that are like this, that have X, Y, and Z characteristics.
Yeah.
Can you help me find them?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And so I think that can begin by you defining what those characteristics are. And then I think, as you've been describing, is in addition to the coaching session here and getting a plan and exploring, is really getting out there and letting people know what you want.
Yeah.
And to say, hey, I'm looking for this kind of opportunity. This is what I'd like to bring to it. This is the sort of roles that I'm interested in playing. Sure. Do you have a sense of that at this juncture, of what those kinds of opportunities are that that most excites you? I mean, is it the analytical side of things? Is it the leadership part of it? Is it the getting other people involved? Is it sort of putting the product together yourself?
I feel like it's pulling a team together and solving a problem. I really also enjoy the leadership aspect of it. I just went through a leadership course, and it was really inspiring to see what can be done with a group of leaders, let alone just becoming one and helping a team along. I feel like I really enjoy that.
So I'm hearing that if you were to go out to somebody in your organization here or beyond, I'm hearing that you'd say something like, I'm sort of a go-to person to get key problems, projects, or opportunities addressed. And what I love to do in that is bring people together and figure out how to get the result, and not necessarily have to be the technical expert, but working with the technical experts to get the job completed.
You're good.
Would that be pretty well on target with what you like?
Yeah.
See, I think if you can articulate that for people, then they'll know what to look for you.
Sure.
And where those opportunities might be.
Okay.
Okay. If you were to think at the moment, just sort of guess, where do you think such opportunities might lie, here or beyond? What would you sort of pick as a few prospects? Like, okay, I think I'll explore there for something like this, or I'll explore over there. What I'm looking for you, and what I've found in coaching a lot of people, is that if you have like 3 options of where you think things could be attractive to you, or 3 opportunities within your organization or beyond, it's really helpful, because then you can see, oh, am I getting more excited about that opportunity or less?
Yeah.
And then the ones that you're less excited about, you kind of let go to the side, and you pick and focus on the others. But if you have choices, then you don't feel like you're stuck or that you have to make one thing happen.
Yeah.
Would anything come to mind of where you would pick, or what would be some places where you could have that role of assessing a situation, pulling a team of people together that has the expertise, guiding and leading them to get the job done and delivering the result?
I feel like if I express that interest to my boss, he would be very, very supportive and help me identify a situation where that's needed. If it's a new project, working with somebody in engineering, though I'm not in engineering, helping a team come together to work on that project. He's been very good so far in putting me into those roles, and it's been very helpful to work with a team of people. I feel like reaching out to him and expressing that this is what I'm interested in doing, he'd be fully supportive of it.
Okay.
Possibly the professional organizations that I'm involved in too, expressing in our meetings or in our networking events, this is where I want to go. Maybe just saying it, because if I don't say it, it's, nobody knows.
Nobody knows. Right. You have
So
to let the universe know so it can respond to you.
I mean, be humble, but at the same time, say, I did this, I really enjoyed this, I'd love to do this in the future.
Right. Okay.
More doors would open, I guess.
Sure. Okay. Well, one of the things that I sometimes offer when I coach is I put something out there for the person, and you don't have to accept it. You can accept it, you can reject it, or you can bounce off of it and come up with something else that would be different. Would you be willing for me to lay something out to you to bounce off in that way, and you can see what you think?
Sure.
Okay. And no pressure from me, like, okay, you have to say yes because I'm asking you.
Okay.
But how would you feel, I know you love a plan, so let me just spin out a plan to you. How would you feel if you did the things that you were talking about here, that you're in the exploration phase, so part of exploration is figuring out, well, what are you looking for? So that would be, identifying the kinds of opportunities and the role you'd like to play in them. And then how about if you've charted some time, let's say in the course of the next month, to identify 3 possibilities for such an opportunity?
Yeah.
How does that feel to you? Does that feel like that'd be the start of a plan?
I feel like, right now it sounds limiting, but at the
okay.
same time.
Well, maybe then how would you make it more engaging and expansive?
I feel like that is the way to start somewhere. I mean, you got to group things into smaller chunks, because right now, as I see it, it's just like one big mess and it just looks overwhelming. You know,
Uh-huh.
what's my future? It looks overwhelming.
Uh-huh.
So if I were to group into, I'm going to explore these 3 areas, I feel like I would see it as more manageable. That makes sense.
Okay. Well, I'd invite you to just mull that around in your mind.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it or not. How would it feel less limiting to you? What would help you feel less? Because that's an interesting response on your part. It suggests that, okay, something isn't, this is like a suit of clothes that feels too tight. Well, how would that feel more comfortable to you?
Well, I think it's just, I don't know where, like I said, I want to know a lot about a lot of things.
Uh-huh.
And you're suggesting, know a lot about these 3 little areas, and then find out if you like them. And then maybe you're suggesting move on. If you don't like this, push it aside and move on to
Yeah, pick
something
the
else.
your 3 best shots for the moment.
Well, I guess now that I think about it that way, it doesn't seem so limiting. I'm looking at the big picture and probably just trying to jump ahead too far and say, no, I want to know everything about everything, which probably isn't ideal. It hasn't got me anywhere so far. So if I take your suggestion and I do look at 3 areas, it came across like, oh no, those are your only 3 areas, but I feel like that's not what you were suggesting. You were just saying focus on a starting point. So it makes more sense that way.
Something that translates your intentions into action.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
I feel like that's
all
a good
right.
idea.
Well, mull that over. See what you think. You're in charge. Okay, we're going to go to step number 10 here, which is to reflect on your possibilities and progress. So, what do you feel you've gained from this conversation for yourself?
I think I've gained a little bit of focus. And knowing that it's, I guess, like I said, chunking it and grouping it and knowing that it's not just an overwhelming future, that if I really set my mind to it and said, I'm going to start here, have a starting point, though I might not have the end goal yet, but have the starting point and the stepstones that may take me to the end point or may take me, to a different level of knowledge somewhere else, that's okay. So I've taken that I need to start, I guess.
Okay.
Make the time for myself to focus on it and
Okay. So, what do you think will help you follow through on these intentions? What has worked for you before?
Probably
When you've set an intention, and how do you execute on that? What works for you? What's your success plan? You've had a lot of successes, so.
Probably somebody holding me to it. It's not that I drop things. I don't just drop things when I'm not successful. I am persistent and I do push it through. It's just if I had, maybe a board or a plan that was in front of me that I could see and look at maybe every day or every other day and readdressing it and seeing my progress, it might help me continue on that path.
So having someone to whom you could be accountable on this or to be, cheering for you and holding these hopes for you, do you have somebody in mind that you can, that you could turn to for that?
Probably my boss.
Okay. All right. So one of the things you might do is ask him and say, hey, look, I'm looking to advance in my career. I'd like your help and support and what my plan is. And then it sounds like you're a visual person. You already are seeing this picture of a plan, a board, a way to keep that in focus for yourself. And those things help you be successful.
They do.
Okay. Well, we've concluded the coaching conversation here. Thanks so much for being with me today and for your candor and your offering of service to your colleagues. Appreciate very much all that you've done.
Thank you for this opportunity.
You're welcome.
Right.